Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Mehmet Angel and I'm the AGM here at Big Valley Auto Auction, and I'm bringing you this video on how a teenager can make up to $100,000 in 2026 by flipping cars. Of course, it's not gonna be easy and it's not gonna be handed to you, but today we're gonna go over certain things that you can look out for or help or do or live by, practice in order to make that 100K that you want in 2026. First, the reality is, nobody talks about this. 100K doesn't come easy. We all know that. It takes a hard work, right? But flipping cars in 2026 can be very lucrative and make you lots of money. Also, being young, it's not a disadvantage, it's an advantage because you have so much tech out there available to you that it makes you even stronger than people were car buying 10, 20, 30 years ago. So that's why we think you can make over 100K in 2026. Time and learning is of the essence, and the more experience you get, the better it is. Why car flipping beats crypto, TikTok, and online businesses? Well, let's think about it. Crypto and TikTok, you gotta have an audience, you gotta be able to gauge losses and mitigate everything in between. As to where the car market, while it does fluctuate in value here and there, you also hold the key to control yourself, right? Rule of the game is you buy small, you sell big, meaning you buy cheap, you sell expensive. That's the rule of the game. Does it work every time? Probably not. But here, you get to control your knowledge of what you buy, how you buy it, how much you pay for it, and of course, how much you sell it for. The basic math, how much money do you actually need? It's a great question. The average profit per car, it's a great question. How many flips do you need to be realistic to get this 100K? Even better question. And why volume matters when flipping. So, how much money do you need? Well, first, how much money do you have, right? So once you have put that number and you know that's what you're working with, your capital, then you're gonna go after cars that make sense. For example, if you have a $50,000 budget, you're not gonna go and buy a truck that's $35,000 and expect to hopefully sell it for 50. No, that's crazy. You're gonna manage your price point somewhere between maybe $2,000, $4,000, $5,000. Try to buy volume and try to buy it cheap so that you can flip it and make profit on every single car that you sell. What is the average profit per car that you should have? I don't know. There's not a book that says, hey, every time you flip a car, you need to make at least this and this. No, it's whatever you feel comfortable with, how much time you have to flip, how much effort and all the due diligence you do for these cars. That depends on how much money you make per car. Now, if you ask me, if I make $100 a car, that's great. I'm not losing $100, but in reality, in order to attain this 100K in 2026, you gotta make it worth your while. What I mean by that is try to get cars that are low in price so you can resell a little bit higher and maybe profit somewhere between $500 per unit. That will equal a lot more in the long run than flipping cars and trying to make $100. Now, of course, it'll happen. You might lose on some, but like I said before, it all depends on you and the work that you put behind it, the due diligence, and how cheap you can buy so you can sell higher. Now you're saying, let's talk about cars. Where do you get the cars? Great question. So, as a registered dealer in the state of Texas, you have to be 18 years of age or older in order to purchase vehicles. Where do you purchase vehicles? You can buy them off the street, mom and pop. You can look at the classifieds. If you guys know what that is, great. If you don't, go to like marketplaces and look up for cars for sale, and then you can reach out and try to buy a car. Also, auctions. You have private auctions, you have open to the public auctions, and you have salvage auctions. Those are different venues that you can buy cars at. One is that it does require you to have a license, like I said. And if you buy off the street, I'm pretty sure there's a limit on how many cars you can buy in the state of Texas. And I believe it was 5, but you might want to fact check me on that. Just saying. So what do you do once you get there? You start doing your due diligence, right? So like I said before, and I hope you're writing this down because there will be a quiz at the end. I'm just kidding, no quiz. You got to make sure that you're buying within the money that you have, right? Have a checklist for what you're looking for, making sure that you are knowledgeable in I'm not saying be a mechanic or ASE mechanic certified or anything like that, but if you hear a knock coming from the motor, that's probably not a good sign. So stay away from things like that, but look for red flags when you're looking at these cars. A lot of these places that you go to, especially auctions, have a preview day a day or two before the actual sale that they have. Now, what that allows you to do as a buyer is go in there and check out potential inventory you might be interested in. Make a list of the stuff that you're gonna have to repair on the vehicle to give yourself a better understanding of how much you're gonna have to put back into the vehicle before you can get ready to sell it. Also, remember, if you are flipping cars, at the point that you're selling, make sure you have a great reputation, because a lot of people that get burned will never buy from the seller that they got burned from. So that's a little note that I'm giving you on this video. The biggest beginner's mistake that anybody can make: you get emotionally attached to cars. You want to buy a car because, oh, that's a car that I like, that's a car that I would drive. Well, you're not driving this car. This car is not going to be yours, nor are you going to put it in a garage or in your driveway or drive your family around or drive yourself around or whatever. No, this is strictly business. You got to make that clear to yourself when you see an amazing car out there that you really, really, really like. Don't grow emotionally attached to it, because you're going to sell it no matter what. Now, your first purchase should always be a learning experience. What do I mean by that? Well, it could be that you bought a car, you didn't expect something to happen to it, you drive it out, something goes wrong with it, right? Take it as a learning experience. Don't let one bad buy put you down and get you out of your game. One bad buy should equal tons of knowledge and experience gained from that purchase. Now, yes, there's money involved. I get it. You might lose a couple $100 here and there if that happens, but don't let that put you down and stop from what you're doing. You got to stay on focus. 100K in 2026. That's the thing. Now, how do you scale this? Say you're already in a couple of months into the year, you're doing great. How do you scale this? Everything that you make, every profit that you make on every unit, you need to reinvest it to buy more to keep it going. Yes, you might have costs. Yes, you might, take money out to pay yourself or whatever it is you want to run your business, but don't forget the ultimate goal. You gotta scale. You're not gonna get to 100K overnight. You're gonna do it with repeated flips week after week. Now, the year has 52 weeks, and throughout those weeks, you have markets, you got peaks and valleys. Market is high, market is low. Market is high, market is low. You gotta be able to gauge that as a flipper to know that, hey, I gotta buy low right now, so when the market gets hot, I can make a bigger profit on my cars. Now, through experience, you would know when those times are. That's why one of the most important things in this business is the experience you gain by doing business week after week. How long does this actually take? Well, there's not really a timetable, but if we're saying we're doing it for 2026, then guess what? Get up and get to work, because that's what it's about. It's about buying cars and flipping cars and making money, taking that money, saving that money, reinvesting that money, and just keep on flipping. Trust me, when you get into it and you get into those lanes at the auctions or online, it becomes like an adrenaline rush that you just want to buy cars and cars and cars and cars. Now, make sure that when you're buying smart, and remember, don't get emotionally attached to these cars, because they're not yours forever. They'll be yours for a short period of time. Discipline and motivation is one of the biggest things. They always say, there's a saying, the early bird gets the worm. It's 100% right. The early person that comes and do their due diligence on the cars before the sale starts are the ones that are gonna make good, wise, buying, educated decisions, and not just buy on the fly, which could equal to problems, and that'll cost you money. Problems equal cost money. Waking up early, getting here, checking cars, buying cars online is what's gonna make you your biggest return on your investment. Now, what are the risks? What motivations and what things are there out there to keep you going? Now, one of the things is misjudging the market, right? So we know that at the beginning of the year, the market gets hot. There's this thing called income tax season that everybody looks forward to, but you gotta have the right car to sell. Now, what I mean by that is gauge where you're at. In the state of Texas, it's so big in so many different markets that what helps here down in the Rio Grande Valley, because we're always hot like 11 out of the 12 months of the year, probably not gonna work up in the northern states where Dallas or Amarillo, where they get snow at times, right? So you gotta say, hey, what works better for where I'm at and the time that I'm at? Once you're able to determine that, that's gonna help you make your buying decisions a lot smarter. Also, one of the biggest things, stay away from something that doesn't sell. Well, how do I know what sells and what doesn't sell? Like we talked about earlier, this little thing called experience, that's how you're gonna gain it. You might buy a car because it's good on the price and you could have a big potential profit, but it might not suit the market you're in. So choose the market, learn from your experience, and when you do determine these cars and what kind of make, model, and years they are, stay away. Final take, 100K isn't luck, it's math. The more you flip, the more you make per car, the more money you'll have in the bank. Now, with that being said, cars are a skill. You gotta put the work in to know. You gotta know what to listen to, what to hear for, what the sound makes, why this does this, why does that, and you gotta know how to fix some of it yourself. Now, I'm not saying be a full-blown mechanic, I'm not saying that, but part of your portfolio is gonna require you to do some work on cars. So, always a good mechanic and a good body shop guy, it's a good thing to have on your side if you're buying lower end cars. Now, you can either own a car and keep it, use that as your daily, or as you're going and flipping and selling, sell it. Me, I would never keep a car. I would sell every single car. And honestly, I'd probably Uber just to save myself some time and money. Like that, you have all your cars at the local auction that will be up for sale that following week if you can get them there. Now, little side notes before we wrap it up. Have a good relationship with the venue that you're selling at. Whether it's an auction, whether it's a car lot, whether it's sending them just online on different platforms that you don't have to have a license to sell and things like that. But always remember, make a good name for yourself because reputation matters in the car business. Buy low, sell high. Here at Big Valley, we're here to help you with all your buying needs. All you gotta do is register, get online, BigValleyAA.com, and we'll help you with the rest. Until then, keep on flipping, and 100K in 2026. We'll see you there.